guys, happy Monday. Hopefully you're having a good day. Unfortunately, I'm home with a sick kid. So, today instead of listening to me face to face, I'm going to make a video for you reading about the next section of Isabel and Muhammad. Listen up and work on your bloom ball. You know the instructions are all online. If you have a friend that you can work with, feel free to. But let's get started on Isabel. This comes from page 25 on Refugee. Havana, Cuba, 1994. Isabel opened her eyes and lowered the trumpet from her lips. Remember, Isabel is from Cuba. The country is kind of rough right now with Fidel Castro in charge. Let's see what happens. She was sure she had just heard the sound of breaking glass, but cars and bicycles kept streaming by under the bright sunlight on the Malecon, like nothing had happened. Isabel shook her head, convinced she was just hearing things, but her lips put her lips back to her trumpet. Then suddenly a woman screamed, a pistol fired, pack! The world suddenly went crazy. People rushed out the side streets, hundreds of them, mostly men, many of them shirtless in the 100-degree August heat. Their white and brown and black backs glistened in the sun. They yelled and chanted. They threw rocks and bottles. They spilled into the streets, and the few policemen on the Malecon were quickly overwhelmed. Isabel saw the glass window in front of the general store shattered all over the ground, and men were climbing inside to steal shoes and toilet paper and bath soaps. An alarm rang. Smoke rose from behind the apartment buildings. Havana was rioting, and her father and grandfather were somewhere right in the middle of it. People fled from the chaos, but more people raced towards it, and Isabel ran with them. Car horns beeped, bicycles swung around and peeled back. People were thick on the ground, and the ground is sugar. People were everywhere, all over the ground. Isabel weaved in and out among them, her trumpet tucked under her arm, looking for Papi and Lito. "Freedom! Freedom!" chanted the rioters. "Castro out! Enough is enough!" So just like I said earlier, Cuba is under the control of Fidel Castro. He is a dictator, and people are not getting all of their basic necessary needs met right now. So they are fighting back. Isabel couldn't believe what she was hearing. People caught criticizing Fidel Castro were thrown into jail and never heard from again. But now the streets were full of people yelling, "Down with Fidel! Down with Fidel!" "Papi!" Isabel cried. "Lito!" Her grandfather's name was Mariano, but Isabel called him Lito, short for abuelo or grandpa. Rifles boomed and Isabel ducked. More police were arriving by motorcycle and military truck, and the protesters were turning bloody. The rioters and police traded blocks and bullets, and a man with a bloody head staggered past Isabel. She reeled back in horror. A hand grabbed her, making her jump. She spun around. "Lito!" She threw herself into her grandpa's arms. Thank God you're safe," he told her. "Where's Papi?" she asked him. "I don't know. We weren't together when it started," her grandfather said. "Chabela!" her grandfather cried. He used her childhood nickname, like he always did. "No, wait!" Isabel ignored him. She had to find her father. If he was caught again by police, he'd be sent back to prison. And this time, he might not be let out. Isabel dodged through the crowds, trying to stay away from where the police had formed a line. "Papi!" she cried. "Papi!" But she was too short, and there were too many people. High above her, Isabel saw people climbing out into the blue electric signs hanging from the side of a tourist hotel. It gave her an idea. She worked her way to one of the cars stuck in the riot, an old American Chevy with chrome tail fins, still around from the Revolution in the 1950s. She climbed up the bumper and onto the hood. The man behind the steering wheel honked his horn at her, took the cigar out of his mouth, and yelled at her. "Chabella!" her grandmother shouted when he saw her. "Chabella, get down from there!" Isabel ignored them both and turned this way and that way, calling out for her father. There, she saw Poppy, just as he reared back and threw a bottle smashing into the line of police along a seawall. It was the last straw for the police. At command from their leader, they pushed forward. The crowd was forward into the crowd, arresting rioters, hitting them with wooden batons. In all the turmoil, the policeman caught up with her father, grabbed him. "No!" Isabel cried. She leapt down off the hood of the car and pushed her way through the pandemonium. When she got to her Poppy, he was balled up on the ground, and policemen were beating him with a nightstick. The policeman raised his baton and hit their father again, and Isabel jumped in between them. "No, don't! Please!" she cried. The policeman's eyes flashed in anger and surprise, then back to anger. He reared back again and hit Isabel, and she flinched. But the blow never came. Another policeman had caught his arm. Isabel blinked. He recognized the policeman. He was Louis Castillo, Ivan's older brother. So remember, that's her best friend / neighbor's older brother, and he was protecting Isabel and her father. "What do you think you're doing?" the older policeman barked. Louis didn't have time to answer. A whistle blew. The policemen were being summoned elsewhere. The angry cop yanked his arm free from Louis and pointed his nightstick at Poppy. "I saw what you did," he said, "and I'll find you again. When all this is over, I'll find you and I'll arrest you and send you away for good." Louis pulled the angry policeman away, pausing just long enough to give Isabel a worried look over his shoulder. Louis didn't have anything to say. Her grandfather arrived and helped Isabel and her father to his feet. She understood. Poppy had to leave Cuba tonight. All right, so that takes us to the end of that little section. Keep working on your balloon ball. Hopefully some of this information is helping you complete it. Don't forget to add color and pictures. Make it interesting for me to see. All right, and email me if you have any questions. See you guys tomorrow.